OJ right in your face.
Welcome back to the Faedaway podcast, season 3, episode number 9. We're almost at double digits this season, bro.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. I'm your host, Faedaway, and I got my boy Zaid with me. Zaid, how you doing, man?
Good. Happy Family Day to you, man.
Happy Family Day, happy President's Day,
Happy
Valentine's Day to all the
Yeah.
Lavamans. So, what was your Valentine's Day like?
Why are you gonna ask me that question while we're recording? Don't worry about how mine was. Actually, mine was watching a very disappointing
Tough.
Raptors showing against against the worst team in the league. We'll get into that, but other than that, it was chill. I had my own kind of day. How about you? You and Ann do something special?
Yeah. Me and the wifey, we were quarantined all weekend. We got to hang out, made some dinner, homemade dinner. So pretty chill. We just watched some TV. We're crushing shows, to be honest with you.
What else is there to do?
It's a reality TV flex in this household, so that's
every time I come over, there's a new reality TV show that you watch.
And right now, there's a whole slew of issues happening with The Bachelor, which is one of her go-tos, one of many girls' go-tos. So it's always interesting whether it's in the show or off air. There's always something going on, but. All in all, man, just a pretty regular week. In terms of Raptors basketball, I know we were talking just off air, a tale of two halves of a week, right?
Yeah.
They started out the week 2-0, and then they ended the week 0-2 for a 2-2 result. And I'll be honest with you, I'm pissed because that should be easily a 3-1 week.
At least,
and I'm sure we'll get into that as well. And, man, what a heartbreaker. Last night, Pascal Siakam at the rim. What a heartbreaker.
Not heartbreaking to me, in my opinion. I'm a bit more I guess I'm maybe harder on Pascal. I don't think the Raptors deserve to be in that game anyway. So to say it was a heartbreaker, if the Raptors have fought hard the whole game and really played like they would have played, the Raptors wouldn't even be in that position. And one of the reasons why I hate the Raptors losing the day before we come on to record is because we're ready. We're ready to fire out and we have ammo and we're ready to just dish out all the negative things about the Raptors and what they didn't do. But I'm going to start with, those first two games earlier last week and what they did do. And what I saw was a Raptors team that is a playoff team. We saw such great balanced scoring from Norm, Pascal, and Freddie. Mm-hmm. And, OG aside, he's obviously out for injury, but those are 3 of the 4 core guys of the Raptors team. So it's so important for them to be on the same page, so important for them to all be able to contribute together all on the same time. And I believe at that point, before the loss against Boston, after the win against the Wizards, the Raptors were 5 straight games scoring 120 plus points. Mm-hmm. And within
first time in the history, right?
Yeah, first time in the history. And within that span, that's the best offensive basketball they've ever played under Nick Nurse in the 3 years that he's been here. So, on the offensive end, even in the losses, the Raptors have been playing great, and they've been able to run their offense properly. Pascal has turned into such a dominant force inside and in the paint. 71 of his shots have been coming from the paint, and I'm not mad at that at all.
71% or 71% individual shots.
71% of his shots of his offense is coming from inside the paint. What I also like about it, I was complaining about it earlier, was that he wasn't shooting any threes. He's decided to step out and shoot maybe 1 or 2 a game, which even if he misses and goes 0 for 2, I'm not mad at that, but just show that you're going to be shooting that shot. And, aside, just great offense and great defense at the other end of the floor. Aside from that, Chris Boucher has come out from his slump, and he's playing, he's continued to play, the best basketball of his career, and he's having a breakout season this year. And then lastly, on the good points was Bembry. Bembry is one of those guys who's come in and been able to contribute a lot, and just judging by how he plays, he can hoop, man, and he oftentimes I think he over defers to a lot of the Raptors and the Raptors stars. I think there's been takes and there's been times where he's gotten the ball, and I think he can make something happen for himself. So I'm really, really interested in seeing how he does and how he grows, especially with OG coming back, what the lineup is going to be like then when he does come back. But as far as positive takeaways, those were the Raptors were rolling those first 2 games of the week, and I'll let you get into the latter 2 games of the week because I know you're fired up. But
yeah,
we saw a totally last night. That wasn't the Raptors team that I know they could be. I didn't recognize that team at all last night.
Yeah, so I'll get into the negatives, but I want to chime in on the positives as well. So DeAndre Bembry is actually shooting 50% from three on the season. That's up from 23% last year, 29% the year before, 37%, and then 0.056% in his first year. All right, so and that year he was putting up less than one attempt, so we'll just scratch that out. But 50%, a clear career best for him. What impresses me the most about Bembry, and the reason why it impresses me is because we've seen this in the last couple of years, the difficulty of opposing players joining the Raptors and getting accustomed to the system that they run, to the defense that they run, so much so that Nurse trusts them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Bembry came in the beginning of the year, wasn't really getting run because just like Stanley Johnson last year, you have to prove yourself.
Of course, yeah.
And Stanley, his adjustment was a lot longer, but also he was on a different team. You have Pascal, you have Ibaka and Gasol. It's a whole different, set of lineups. So similarly, Bembry comes in and he has to prove himself. Obviously, the lineup's a little bit shorter, and with injuries, we do need him more. But 50% from three, his defense has been incredible.
Such a good defender.
And even in the games where the game itself is a negative, he's still a positive.
Yeah.
Like that bucket last night against Minnesota, the and one.
Big move.
Not only did it bring the game close, but he got cat fouled out on that play.
Yeah.
They ultimately ended up losing the game, but buddy, you take Cat out of the game, you have a wide open layup to win or tie the game, which they did.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that in more detail. But I've loved what I've seen from him. I want to see Utah Watanabe back in the lineup because I think right now especially is so crucial. We need that defense. I'm comfortable if Terrence Davis doesn't play a single minute moving forward. Like I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Because
there's too many downs with his ups, and Bembry gives you those ups similarly, and I think he makes much better decisions. He's a much better defender. He can stay in the game without fouling out. He's a much better, it looks like, decision maker on offense.
Smarter.
How many times are we going to see on a fast break Terrence Davis going to pull up?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Bembry has an overall just better feel for the game than Terrence Davis. Bembry knows when to assert himself. Bembry makes all the right plays. Even when he's off the ball, he makes the right cuts. He's such a good cutter off the ball. Yeah. So as far as Terrence Davis is going to be moving very close to the end of the bench if he keeps up this play, because like you said, for every one good play, you get 5 bad ones out of Terrence Davis. Bembry's always constantly giving you that good energy, good plays.
He's a smarter
player.
He's
smart. He's just smart.
He's a smarter player. Yeah. And I honestly, after this week, I've decided completely that I am totally done with Terrence Davis and Aaron Baines as Raptors. Like, I never claimed Aaron Baines as a Raptor from the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And this guy is just absolutely terrible. Like, we don't stand a chance if Baines is in the lineup. Like, we win games. So let's go back to the Memphis game last Monday. We won 128 to 113. You won by double digits, score 130 points. Your defense is phenomenal. What did JV do on us that night?
He snapped.
JV had a 20-20 night pretty much with like 6 blocks or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to find the details in a bit. So I don't want to say his exact stat line, but at the end of the day, the exact line was 27 points and 20. So I was right.
Yep.
20 and 20 night with almost 30 points. That is disgusting. Like, JV's a good player. JV's a nice player. JV's not a 27 and 20 guy with 4 blocks. Like, I'm sorry. You, as a Raptors team that defended, that had a reputation for defense, that you coached this guy.
Yeah.
He's not Karl Anthony Towns. He's not Joel Embiid. 27 and 20, and you still win that game. And then you go to the Wizards. Why is Alex Len working you, bro?
Yeah. We saw Alex Len do a lot.
You know what's a problem when Raptors fans on Twitter are like, did we choose the right guy?
Yeah.
Did we cut the... That's a problem. You cannot ask that question, did we cut the right guy? And then the Celtics come around and, Tristan Thompson bullied the crap out of him. And then, Daniel Tice coming in. Why not? Daniel Tice can come bully him too. It's no problem. And then last night, Karl Anthony Towns in a very slow game. He had a terrible game. 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 blocks. It was his third game back, but he's been going through a heck of a lot.
He's been going through it,
Still ended up getting a double-double with 3 blocks. This guy is trash. This guy is trash. Like, even the games you're winning, you can't even stop. And do you understand? Like, and many people, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but when I'm watching this game and I'm watching their zone, he's so lazy that he costs a lot of those corner threes are because of his terrible rotations.
Yeah.
Because the guy that's supposed to close out is now forced to come in and help because Baines is an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm snapping right now.
You are snapping. Yeah. Go for it.
Baines is like, it's awful to watch. I'm over it. Like I can't handle watching this game, and like I can't even imagine being a player on the court watching this guy. Like I don't know. Am I wrong here?
A lot of it is that we've as Raptors fans, we've been spoiled with a Serge Ibaka, and honestly, at this point, we've been spoiled with a Marc Gasol, at this point in Toronto, he was declining a lot. Still, just much smarter than an Aaron Baines. You mentioned how hard it is for a player coming in to the Raptors system and getting accustomed to the Raptors system. Bembry's been doing a hell of a job of that. Stanley had his struggle when he came in last year. And Baines' struggle, is like no other. I just don't think he fits this Raptor team well. The only thing he's been good at is, or two things I'll say, being able to draw charges. He's been relatively decent at that. Also, his screen assists and his ability to screen and get guys open has been good. I know you roll your eyes at that, but other than that, he doesn't give you much. Any advantage at the defensive end or at the offensive end. And for a team that was, now looking back at it, heavily reliant on their bigs being able to pass and create plays, you see the Raptors struggle because of Baines. And, to your point about the corner threes, the Raptors in the last 2 games have given up more than 10 corner threes in each of those games. Against the Celtics.
Wide open.
And against the Wolves. Celtics have done that against the Raptors in the last 4 meetings in the last 6.5 months. The Raptors have given up 10+ corner threes in each of those games.
I'm excited because we're gonna talk Celtics later.
Yeah.
So it's
in terms of the negatives, Baines we've known is not the answer at the center position.
Nope.
Defensively, the corner threes have Nick Nurse's strategy to give those up works when you have the personnel for it. This year, we do not have the personnel for it, and you've seen that it's been our Achilles heel. Another thing to add to the Baines point, against Boston, the Raptors were 17-0 in second chance points in favor of the Boston Celtics. 17-0 in second chance points. That means you're not really grabbing any offensive rebounds. You're allowing the Celtics to grab that many offensive rebounds that they're 17-0 in second chance points. That's unacceptable. What is Baines doing on the court that makes him valuable? Absolutely nothing, right? So
he's getting you 5 rebounds a game as a starting center.
It's unreal. Lowry's getting you more. All these other guys are getting you more. It's ridiculous. Against the Wolves, they were 19 to 6 in second chance points in favor of the Raptors. But at the same time, the Wolves shot 52% from the field and 41% for 3.
That third quarter, they went 13 for 17 for 38 points.
They didn't need second chance points. There was no second chance points to get for them. So
why do we get cooked by scrubs? That's a topic for Raptors Twitter. Why do we get cooked by scrubs? Why does Ricky Rubio have 5 threes?
Did the Okay. I want to say Ricky Rubio's a scrub because time and time again,
he's a 3-point scrub.
He's improved that shot a lot. He's not the old Ricky Rubio, and I think everybody in the league or even fans get caught up in Ricky Rubio of 2015 who couldn't shoot a 3-point shot to save his life. He's improved that shot dramatically. The issue is the Raptors looked fatigued yesterday off a 2-day break. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, against the Celtics, they looked really, really fatigued, and that's okay. It was off a back-to-back. Really tough team to get off a back-to-back. That's okay. I'll accept that. But at what point does fatigue become an excuse for lack of preparation? Because they didn't look prepared defensively. They didn't look like they did any homework defensively. They didn't look like they practiced in those 2 or 3 day 3-day break between those games. It just looked like they were unprepared. And when did they decide to flip the switch? 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That to me is a huge issue. And you're going against the worst team in the league. Even if you're not prepared, that should have been a 10+ point victory.
I found that even Pascal was pretty invisible until the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
he's statistically he was shooting 50%. He had 18 points, but when you really break it down, he took 18 shots to score 18 points.
Yeah,
that's unacceptable. And then the whole layup thing is a discussion. But to your Ricky Rubio point, he improved last year. He was 36% last year from 3, 24.5% this year on 4.3 attempts.
He loves the Raptors though,
and he 4 for 6, 4 for 5,
killer.
And even let's look back to the rest of the week because we were getting cooked by Peyton Pritchard and Semi Ojeleye.
Yeah.
Semi Ojeleye puts up 4 points a game. He had like 25.
Yeah. When you're giving up wide open shots, it's practice.
Peyton Pritchard and him both combined for like 40 plus points, man. Like, you can't go into Boston. You can't disrupt. Jaylen Brown was 3 for 11 from the field, or 3 for 10.
And Tatum
it was,
had
it was ridiculous.
Poor game too.
And Kemba Walker was non-existent. Like, they did not play good games.
Yeah.
And then you go in there and Peyton Pritchard and Semi Ojeleye cook you when you lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Second night of a back-to-back, Boston Celtics.
Tough.
Although the way that they lost was annoying, whatever. Then you go to Minnesota after a 2-game rest.
No,
2-day rest.
They come to you technically. They came to Tampa.
Yeah, sorry. They play Minnesota on a 2-day rest. They were off Friday. They were off Saturday completely. And then they played Sunday night.
Yeah.
So pretty much 2.5 days of rest. And like you said, come in with negative energy.
Energy.
You're playing the
all.
record. You're playing the 6-20. You're not playing to your standard. And that's one thing that the Raptors have been doing, unfortunately, for the last few years. And they have a tendency to do is they play the record.
Yeah.
And you have Philly and Milwaukee 4 of your next 5 games, and then you have Miami after that. You cannot lose to the Wolves.
Yeah. That's a game where you should be salivating. Like, I've been getting my money's worth this game. I'm going to eat this game. And nobody came out with that mentality. Maybe Freddie. Other than that,
I mean, he went 0 for 7 in the second quarter.
They looked flat-footed, behind, 1 step behind every single play. It just looked, you were watching the game and it looked like they either don't want to play, or they're not rested well, or they're just not prepared. And that's the way it looked. And that's why this week was a story of two halves, because the defense that we saw the Raptors play in those first 2 games was amazing. Like rotations on rotations on rotations, team defending. Getting in passing lanes, being able to defend one-on-one. It was night and day compared to what we saw earlier in the week, and that's the way it's gonna go. The Raptors shot, I think, 32% from 3-point from 3-point in the loss against Boston. You're living and dying by the 3, fine, but if you're not gonna defend, that's what's gonna happen to you. You're gonna get run over and you're gonna get trucked, and that's exactly what happened this week for the Raptors in the latter portion of the week.
Yeah, look. I know that you've said, okay, you know what? Before we get into this, I want to just address the game winner situation, because I've been pretty pissed off about it. And I hear you on your perspective, and half of the Twitter world is saying, well, we shouldn't have been in that position. I understand.
That's not an excuse for it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, because the reality of basketball is it's a game of possessions. You were in that position.
Yeah.
Fine. You have the ball. You're driving to the basket. You're up against a rookie who's nowhere in the play. You're so close that you could have dunked it.
He was there.
He was there initially.
He was there.
But on the Euro, he created separation. So if you look at the replay in slow mo on that Euro step, he created that separation. He was right at the rim. He could have dunked it. He should have dunked it. And how many times have we come in here and said, how many times is this guy gonna turn down a dunk for a freaking finger roll?
Yeah.
And it's so weak. And what does he do? I know the game's over, 116-112 at that point, but they inbound him the ball. What does he do? Gets his behind blocked at the rim again, and nobody even realized that because the game was done. But he still got blocked, and he ended up on his backside on the floor. Like, man, 0 for 3 on game winners. We gave you the first 2 as a whatever
learning curve.
It's okay. We like that you took the shot. The second one you should have made. Whatever. We like that you took the shot. This is unacceptable.
And this, by the way, this play that Nick Nurse drew up, I've been hard on Nick Nurse all year about the late game plays, the plays he chooses to draw up, ISO norm, 3-point shot, and all that stuff. This play was an amazing play that he drew up for Pascal. Pascal had the whole half of the floor.
He had a seat in front of him.
Nobody in front of him. It was amazing the way they overloaded the left side of the court, and the right side of the court, and Pascal was able to go left and go into the middle, and he was right at the rim. So for me, a lot of people are saying don't slander Pascal, don't be hard on Pascal.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
This is not Pascal slander. This is not being hard on Pascal. You're 0 for 3 on game winners. That point blank, you're at the rim. Put that ball down. I don't want to see you. He's right there. Put that ball down through the hoop.
Yo, people have replaced the term accountability for slander.
Yeah.
It's okay to hold somebody accountable.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay to say you should, as a 6'10" max guy, former All-Star starter, champion, that you should be able to make an uncontested layup at the end of a game. Not even at the buzzer, bro. There was like 10 seconds, 5 seconds left. You have time. That's unacceptable.
And that's the thing. It's not slander because we expect him to be that good. And when you don't meet the expectation,
Yeah.
people are going to criticize you because you didn't meet it. And people are going to be after you because you didn't meet it. I expected Pascal to make that shot. It was point blank. And for a guy who's 71% of your shots are coming in the paint, they're layups, that's practice for you. That's money for you, and you weren't able to convert it. So, he was in disbelief that he couldn't convert it. I was in disbelief. You were in disbelief. And it's disappointing at this point because, number one, disappointing that the Raptors were in that position to begin with to, shoot for the game-winning shot. And two, disappointing because that was a beautiful play drawn up by Nick Nurse, and you wasted it.
It was just about the only good thing that he's done, though, because I want to talk about him before we move on from Raptor stuff. But, man, Nick Nurse's, your timeout calls trash. I want to address the lack of a review last night. So it's a 2-point game, and they call you for a foul.
Yeah.
If they make those, you're up 4 or you're down 4 with 5 seconds left. Game's pretty much over, which is exactly what happened, by the way. They call you for the foul. It looked from the camera angle that it was debatable. You have a coach's challenge. There's no reason why you don't use it. You, sir, have used the challenge in the first quarter. You, sir, have used the challenge in the second quarter. And you're going to come down to the wire of this game and say, I don't know. I need to know. It wasn't discussed enough. The broadcast didn't talk about it. Was there something I'm missing here? Was it not allowed?
This year, out of all the Toronto media, out of all the Toronto writers or whatever, I haven't seen anybody else other than myself, honestly, for the most part, talk about Nick Nurse. Everybody seems to be okay with his decision-making.
I've seen it lately with the technicals, but not the timeouts decision-making.
The timeouts, the subs, the minutes, the lack of decision-making that he's been able... He had a play earlier, maybe with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, where he wanted to call a timeout, but he didn't, and it became this whole confusion about him wanting to challenge it, not wanting to challenge it, and he ultimately didn't challenge it. And it's hey, just make the decision. Make this. No one's going to be after you if you challenge a questionable play and you don't get it. Make the decision. Make better decisions. Make smarter decisions. That play that play he drew up for Pascal was it was nothing special, but it was such a good play because all the other plays he's drawn up in the past were so poor. So for me with Nick Nurse this year, it's been weird. I feel like some of it has gone to his head a little bit, and we saw a lot of that with the talking this year and getting a lot of technicals. I get it. The Raptors always get shafted with calls, and it's not the easiest thing to deal with, and you got to talk, you got to stand up for your guys, but I don't know. It just seems to me like he's lost a little bit of that feeling of being that first year head coach that had to prove something. You still have something to prove. You won. Great. We love it. We know you're a good coach, and now we're going to hold you to this championship standard that you set for yourself, and it doesn't always seem like you're living up to it now, and it seems like you don't. Yeah, whatever. I'm going to do what I want. So for me, I need to see a lot of improvement from the coaching staff and from that regard. It just hasn't been decisive and good decision making at all this year.
For the most part, he's been quieter though since the technical fiasco.
He has been exactly. I don't know if he got humbled a little bit on that technical fiasco or whatever it was. But
maybe Masai went into the locker room after his ejection and was like, "Yo,
what are you doing?
What's wrong with you?"
So
that's 5 straight games, bro.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up. It's cleanup at this point because they know the Raptors know what they need to do, and I know they know it because they've played well in the past, and they played well in recent games, so they know what they need to do to be successful. It just, do they buy in? Are they prepared? Are they ready to play like that?
Yeah.
That's the question.
One last thing I want to say is between the 5th of February and the 19th of February, we have 3 sets of back-to-backs. So
ridiculous.
We have the Feb 5 and Feb 6, we had the Nets and the Hawks on a back-to-back, so we lost to the Hawks on the second night. And then we had the Wizards on the Wednesday, the 10th, and the Celtics the next day. We lost to the Celtics. And then this coming week, we have the Bucks on Thursday after we play them on Tuesday. But we have them on Thursday, and then the Wolves again Friday night. So
tough
3
schedule,
sets of
man.
back-to-backs in 3 weeks. I mean, I don't know why the NBA hates us and why every single time it's got to be like an all-NBA team on either side of that back-to-back. Because you get the Celtics on one end, and you get the Nets and the Hawks on one of them, and then you get the Bucks twice in a week, and then on the Friday you get Minnesota. So Trap game galore, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's why that loss yesterday
It hurts
so big.
It hurts.
You needed that game.
It hurts. Yeah, because realistically, I mean, if we're gonna talk about this week, we play the Bucks Tuesday and Thursday. I don't think we go 2-0 on that. If OG doesn't play, I think we go 0-2 on that because the Bucks have been hot. Like they're not just okay; they've been hot.
Yeah,
they just beat us without OG. So I mean, and then what? You got Philly, and then you got Minnesota, and then Philly on Sunday.
Better win that Minnesota game.
So
that's all I know.
4 games this week: 2 against Milwaukee, 1 against Philly. Tough week.
Tough schedule.
And you drop a game to Minnesota. Like, that's the part. And we tweeted this. We're like, you can't lose this game heading into a week like this. And you got to be more mindful of that, which I'm sure that they are. They're pros. And the whole away thing, everyone talks about it. So let's move on from Toronto. I don't know if there's anything that you want to add for Raptors before we do our scope around the league.
No, we're good. We're good to go.
So the season of outrageous numbers continues.
Yeah.
Someone that's very near and dear to my heart, or was very near and dear to my heart before I started to
not
distance myself.
Yeah.
I claim him. I just don't claim his team anymore.
Yeah.
But Luka Doncic, career high 46 on a Friday night. Then the next game, he comes back with a 44 pointer. So unfortunately, they're not winning games. At all. They're actually, and you know what? That's not true. They won 4 straight.
They won 4 straight.
They had won 4 straight, so they did have a good span. But prior to that, it was pretty rough. And then at the end of the day, Luka Doncic is going to need more help. If your second option on your team is Kristaps Porzingis, who's unreliable, who doesn't have a good health history, it's going to be tough to win games consistently. And I mean, who's the guy on their team? Timmy Hardaway Jr. Trash. He's just not it anymore. Like, you know what? What happened to these guys? Dorian Finney-Smith, they're nice players, but they lost Seth Curry. They're really missing him. Where are you at with Dallas? I don't know if you have any thoughts on Dallas. I know that we don't really watch much Dallas, to be completely honest with you. It's more so Luka Doncic just snapping.
Yeah.
Is he a good player? What do people say? Good player, good stats, bad team guy. That's what it is.
No, I don't think he's a good stats, bad team guy just because he's put up those numbers in the past. So this is his 3rd season now. So, he's made the playoff. I think he made the playoffs last year, I believe. So he's proven that he can put up numbers regardless and win games. Their team is just not good enough, man. Like, Porzingis is a solid second option, but I don't think they complement.
He's not a solid second option.
He's
good. If he's healthy, sure.
If he's healthy, he's a solid second option, but given the team, like it's a weak team otherwise. Dorian Finney-Smith is a decent player. Maxi Kleber decent. Josh Richardson is up and down. Timmy's up and down. Dwight Powell is up and down.
Josh Richardson was hurt with not hurt, but he was affected by COVID, so he missed a handful. It was like 2 weeks that he missed. So that's tough.
They
Timmy
put
Hardaway.
It just that what strikes out to me. I just pulled up this random Golden State game that they won last week. Luka has 42, and then the rest is 18, 17, 16, 11, 10. Nobody else hits 20 points. And, while it is balanced scoring from that perspective, it's also nobody else is able to, really help Luka out. Luka's probably getting double teamed, probably getting triple teamed, and having to give it up. So I don't think he's a good player, bad team at all. I think he can put up these numbers on any team he plays for, any given night, any team he plays against. I just think other teams are better. Like,
I think what that means is not that he can't produce on good teams, but that his production doesn't affect winning.
Yeah, no. I just don't think the team is good enough.
Bro,
to
he
win
took them
games.
to the playoffs in their second year. I don't want to hear it.
Exactly.
I don't want to hear
so for me,
about no bad team.
He can win games. It just either won 4 straight and hey, they ran into Portland. Portland is not a bad team at all, and Dame Lillard has been playing MVP
Lights
basketball,
out.
right? So
Lights out.
sometimes the team is just better than you, right? So that question is just like, people just want to make something up to talk about. Obviously, he struggles. Obviously, this is going to happen. Once they start winning again, once they start winning games or make the playoffs, they'll be like, oh, he's great again. He wins games, all that good stuff. So, as somebody who never claimed him and unclaimed him like you,
I never unclaimed him. I unclaimed Dallas.
I'm on his side. He's great, bro. Like there's no doubt about it. He's amazing.
He's amazing.
He's amazing.
There's no question he's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw earlier that your boy is in some trade talks again. This poor guy can't catch a break, man. When do you really
Nobody
think about
wants
it?
him, bro. Come on.
When you
man.
really think about it, Lonzo Ball's entire NBA career has been fighting trade rumors. Because on LA, he was there, and ever since he stepped foot in LA, because that's when LeBron stepped foot in LA, it's always, when are we going to trade these guys? We need to trade these guys to get ready. We need to trade these guys to get championship-ready players. And then the whole saga happened with AD, and then he gets traded. And now it's back to the drawing board. Well, is he going to go to Toronto? Is he going to go to now the Chicago Bulls want in? And I just need to understand, because you have Zach LaVine, who's playing at an all-time great for himself, like literally the best year of his career.
Stupid level.
And
All-star
in
level,
terms
honestly.
of a franchise, like just up there with Jordan, he seems to be doing everything that Jordan did offensively.
But we're not comparing him to Jordan.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I have like 10 sneakers right there of all Jordan's and all Zach LaVine shoes here. So Zach LaVine killing it. And then you have Kobe White as your second backcourt partner.
Yep.
Kobe White's a very good player.
He's been playing very well this year.
He's a very good player.
Yeah.
So I'm just not understanding Chicago, Wagwan. Like, what? Why? Why him?
Chicago just always seems to be that team that doesn't know what they want to do or
they're always
what
trying
they're
to sell
doing.
tickets, even when they're not selling tickets.
Yeah, they're just trying to put something out on the floor and then piece these guys together. I don't understand that either. I don't want him to go there. I don't think he's going to be of great use there. But sure, if Pelicans, I don't think their problem is Lonzo. I think their problem is the coach. They need to. I mean, they probably signed him for a few years, so
they need a factory reset on that one.
Yeah, they need to reset on that one. So I don't think it's Lonzo's fault. It's just unfortunate that he's always kind of like scapegoated in these trade talks. I would love. I don't know if you said it last time. Miami. If Lonzo went to Miami, he can play a backup role and then end up starting at some point over there. And
they don't really have their point guard is Goran Dragic, who's older,
who's aging. Yeah,
we saw that last year in the playoff run. And Kendrick Nunn is not really a point guard in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's more Terrence Davis than anything to me. He's just trying to score. That's all.
Yeah.
I think that would be nice there.
And it's a great environment there. So it would be a great fit for him and a great fit for his career. But honestly, enough about Lonzo. There's a lot of rumors going around. Trade deadline's March 25th. So we're a month and 10 days away from that. So one of the latest things to hit. We'll keep it Raptors for now. Andre Drummond. Not DeAndre Drummond. Andre Drummond on the trading block for the Cavs. He's no longer playing for the Cavs. He's sitting until they figure out his situation.
Which makes sense.
Which is,
they got Jared Allen in the trade. They got their core.
Once that Jared Allen trade went down, everybody knew Andre Drummond is going somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's why, and I think you and I were on here like confused because people are like, why would you pick up 5 centers? Like, they don't want Kevin Love. Yeah. They don't want Drummond. They got a guy in Jared Allen for pretty much nothing. Like, what did they give up for Jared Allen?
Not much. Not
nothing.
Much at all, yeah.
Like, you still kept Isaac Okoro, you kept Sexton, you kept Garland, and you kept Jared Allen. That's your core for the future. That's your young guys.
Go for it.
Kudos to them. Like, when you thought that franchise was just incapable of doing anything without LeBron, it seems like they're building something. They had good spurts, but I think you and I yesterday were like, we heard they were breaking their 6-game winning streak or looking to break their 6-game winning streak.
Losing?
Yeah,
losing
streak. And we were like, oh, there we go.
Classic, they're back.
They've reverted back to the mean. And even earlier in the year when we said, are they real or fake?
Nah.
They're fake. They're fake. And it's still good because it signs. You know, it shows that they can play defense. It shows that Sexton is a producer. Garland can pass the ball. But interesting, man. Interesting because the Raptors are tied into the Drummond saga, and for years, actually, ranging back to JV, right?
Yeah.
And I've been running through some trade situations in my head, so I'll give it to you, and then we'll bounce off each other just to see where.
First of all, I think why I don't come with DeAndre Drummond. Andre Drummond is a great player and would be a great fit for the Raptors. I don't think he addresses the playmaking need at the center position to the exact T we need. However, a pylon is better than Baines, so imagine getting Andre Drummond.
That's exactly it.
That would be a great addition to the team, just for rebounding, rim protection, pick and roll playing. I think he's going to be a great addition to the Raptors. There's been multiple trade packages.
Because he's making bank, bro.
Yeah, he's making a lot of
That's
money.
the biggest issue. Because they tried to buy him out, but he's like, no.
Yeah,
because buyout would mean, I think that the way the buyout works is they pay you lump
less.
sum, but
they pay
less.
Yeah, pay you less.
And he's like, yo, no,
I want that.
I'll sit down.
The $30 million, I want.
I'll sit.
Right?
No problem. I'll sit.
Yeah, go ahead with your trade packages.
So initially I was looking at the top, right? Because whenever you see 28 mil, 30 mil, you're like, oh man,
You gotta get from
like
the top.
we really got to give away from the top. So I was looking at the Lowrys of the world, but then you like if you really think about it, right? We were just talking about their core moving forward. Cleveland is Garland and Sexton at the 1 and 2, and then you got Okoro at the 4, and you got Jarrett at the 5.
Yeah.
What don't you have? You don't have wing players. Wing production is something that they're in desperate need of.
Mm-hmm.
So what I was thinking, and I'm not even going to credit this to myself because I saw it online or I saw it in somewhere. I saw it somewhere, and it was a great one. It was Norm plus Baines plus Stanley Johnson plus Pat McCaw. That adds up to about 26 mil. So I think you can do something else to make it work at that point. But Baines, McCaw, Stanley, and what was the last one I said? Norm. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get Stanley and Norm. You get offensive production in terms of Norm, what
and
he
defense.
can do, and defense. And then Stanley Johnson gives you great defense. He could be a good 3-and-D guy. Pat McCaw, we don't really know what he is, but he's a champion, so he can, take his over. He can go. And then you give them Baines, just throw a throw-in deal. You need to come off your bench because Drummond's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be, he could just survive that season and leave. And somehow Baines is making 7 mil. So
You got a good deal. Yeah.
I mean, Shaq wants to talk about Gobert making 200 mil, but you don't want to talk about Baines making 15 over 2. Come on, man.
Shaq has bigger fish to fry, bro. He doesn't care about Baines, but
yeah, absolutely.
that in terms of the deal, you're giving away a lot of wing players, but the Raptors still have wing players to make up for that. You've still got Pascal.
I love Norm, but we talked about this earlier because we were concerned, bro. But now he's playing well. You gotta get rid of him.
You gotta
bro.
sell him high, eh? You want to sell him high.
He started the year slow, and we're like, damn, we missed it. We missed the pocket to sell him, and now he's
This
playing
is
well.
the pocket to sell him now. So, in terms of a big, how many years does Norm have? 2 years left.
Norm Powell's got 2 years left, 10 and 11 mil, which is a steal for a guy of his
huge
caliber.
steal. It just comes down to: do you think you're going to be able to be very competitive with Andre Drummond, and competitive enough to give away a guy like Powell, who is homegrown, who has been in your program, who Are we going to beat
Brooklyn? No, but I think we'll definitely win those games that we should win.
Is that enough to give him away? I'm not saying it's a bad deal. I think relative to the other deals I've seen, it's a great deal because the Raptors are still able to keep their core guys for them. I mean, obviously, Norm is one of the core, but Norm is outside of this hot streak he's had. He's a bench guy, and he's always been a bench guy. And Nick Nurse has always made him
which is kind of stupid when you really look at his production as a starter.
Exactly. So he's kind of still considered to be a bench guy if you want to look at it. So you still keep Lowry, who's leadership. You still keep the Freddie, the OG, the Pascal trio. Chris Boucher. You still got Bembry. You've got Yuta. You've
TD,
got
Matt Thomas.
I mean, you've got wings. Paul Watson, if anything, it can come off. If you need a wing, if you need a body, whatever.
Yeah, okay, Paul Watson. Because Nick Nurse is going to do that, bro.
But you still got an adequate amount of wings. Sure. This trade comes down to who are you giving up, and obviously Lowry's name gets thrown in there because of the contracts to match. If you ship away Lowry to Cleveland, that's a very bad look. I don't want them to do that.
I don't think that they would.
That's a very, very bad look.
Cleveland wouldn't do that.
It's a slap. Whatever. Whether they would or would not, yeah, they wouldn't. It wouldn't make sense because it's still expiring contracts at $30 million a year.
Why don't we don't need this guy?
But if you were to propose that or suggest that or make that happen, very bad look. That might be the best trade package I've seen. Numbers work, player personnel work. Sucks to lose Norm, but in this case, the Raptors absolutely need a guy like Drummond instead of Norm. And selling Norm high is probably the best way to go at this point.
Yeah, and I'll even bring this up. So Norm is 27 right now. He's got 2 years left on his deal, so he'll be 29 when the deal comes up, which is still, in my opinion, enough for a 3-4 year deal.
Yeah.
So if he continues to play like this, do the Raptors want to pay Norm? Can they pay Norm?
I don't
that's
think
another
they
discussion.
They can.
And that's another discussion that you
might be able to because of Lowry dropping off the books.
I just don't think that that's where they'll put their money. Wow, I can't speak.
What are you gonna give him, Norm? 15 to 20?
Maybe.
Depends what if he's playing like this.
If he was a free agent this summer, I think he could command 15 to 20.
Which you can pay him.
Marcus Morris got 64 over 4 years. Someone in the league will give him that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I think you can pay him 15 to 20 and keep him, especially with Lowry dropping off. It's just a lot of money to tie in to a guy like Norm.
I would just prefer to re-up Drummond than...
You think Drummond would stay?
Maybe. I mean, he's played in Detroit and Cleveland. It's only up from there, bro.
No, but now
we can blow his mind. Oh, this is an organization.
But I agree with that point. But Toronto isn't exactly the hotspot for.
He's got family
for
here.
guys
That's
like
a
that.
fact. I know some of them. I
Okay.
don't. I indirectly know some of them.
Possibly. Would we want to pay?
That's just a rumor.
Would you want to pay a guy like Drummond instead of Norm? Absolutely.
Yeah.
If Drummond is part of the future, that makes that deal even sweeter, right? So, that's the best package I've seen, I've heard of, whatever it may be. I think there will be a third team in that trade if this trade goes down because it makes sense that a third team will come into the
wants
play.
Lowry. That's the thing that scares me.
Yeah,
someone's going to need Lowry, and Lowry might end up getting shipped, but he's not going to go to Cleveland if that's the case.
Yeah. Moving along, another player that was recently, benched until their future is decided, Blake Griffin. Mm-hmm. I've watched a bunch of Pistons basketball this year. I've seen how Blake's played. He looks like a shell. He looks like a shell of himself. I don't know if it's he can't play or he doesn't want to play. I hope he does not want to play because he looks like he doesn't want to play. So in terms of a deal for Blake,
nope.
There isn't. No, not from the Raptors' perspective.
Nobody.
League wide, nobody would really want him. I'm gonna go with the assumption that he is still not LA Clipper Blake, but first coming to the Pistons Blake, and he can still put up numbers and still ball.
Is he though?
I think he can be a good contributor to a good contending team.
Oh my God, bro! He's making 37 mil.
The problem is he's making
this
37
year.
million.
He's making 39 next year. 39.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow. In terms of the numbers, I think he's going to get bought out at this point. He has to get bought out. There's no one's going to want to pay him that much. No one's going to want to pay him that much.
So he has a player option in his last year.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to take that. That's like 75 mil.
Well, for the one, how?
2, because he's 37 this year.
It's +2?
So it's 37 this year, 39 the year after. So he has 75 mil
owed to him, eh?
Right now, he has attempted 0 dunks this season.
Yeah. It's
His
been a
rookie
bad
year,
season.
he attempted, or he
led,
made
probably a little bit
220.
Yeah.
0.
In terms of fit, I don't know where he really fits in the league.
He's done a terrible job for his own stock.
I was thinking if he was still a good Blake, I think a good Blake would have fit very well with Atlanta Hawks. Especially a good Blake.
With
a good Blake.
John Collins.
You get a more seasoned John Collins who can shoot the ball and who can make plays.
I hate that.
Unfortunately, he's not good Blake.
No.
I think they play very similar styles. They used to play, I guess, above the rim. Can step out and shoot a bit. John Collins doesn't want to take less than $90 million, so the numbers are kind of the same. Obviously, which one do you invest in? John Collins is younger, has more room to grow, but in terms of fit, Atlanta Hawks might work. I don't think any other team in the NBA really needs a guy like him that's a contending team. Utah Jazz wouldn't work. I'm just going down the list. Clippers wouldn't work. The Lakers wouldn't work. Denver Nuggets wouldn't work. It just doesn't seem a good fit.
Denver could work.
I don't think so.
I don't think it'll do anything for them, especially because their issue is defense.
I don't think it'll work for them.
But it could with Jokic, maybe. But the thing is, I'm not confident in what Blake can do.
That's the problem.
Like, what can you do well? What has he done well this year? Mm-hmm. He hasn't even shown effort. It's scary. It's in the territory of when you trade for Kawhi.
Yeah.
And you're like, is he going to show up?
Yeah.
Because that was like before, right? Before we got the championship, he missed it a while. And is he going to show up? And that's one of those where it's like, is he going to show up? And he might show up physically, but is he going to show up?
Mentally, physically,
that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up the episode, let's talk Boston.
Yeah.
Because I have some bones to pick with the Celtics. Yes, they beat us.
Yeah.
But the Celtics are severely underperforming. They're 5-10 since Kemba Walker came back.
Yeah.
That's 5-10 in a lineup of they're like 3-5 or 3-6 since Marcus Smart went down. But if you have a lineup of Kemba, Jason, and Jalen, and you can't win games, somebody's gonna look at Brad Stevens.
And it's not like those guys. They've got some good pieces. Tristan Thompson's a good piece for them. For you,
they've made him look useless.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten much
So
productivity out of
now
him.
there's a few things I want to point out because Brad Stevens has been, and we talked about this last year.
Yeah.
Because we always said Nick Nurse is the coach that Brad Stevens was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And now at this point, you're severely underperforming. They're on par with the Raptors, and they have a way more talented roster than we even can imagine of having. So you want to tell me you have Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kemba Walker in your starting lineup, and you can't win games? You got to look at the coach. Let's look at Danny Ainge. Outside of their number 3 picks, they've drafted like crap. They've drafted like crap. Shout out to Peyton Pritchard because he's a surprise.
He's been a great draft pick.
Before him, it's been crap.
It's easy to draft. It's easy to draft in top 3.
100%.
It's harder to draft and find gems like the Raptors have in the latter part of the first
the
round.
The only one I'll
round.
credit him for is when he finessed Philly and gave them the first pick.
Yeah.
Because he's like, whoever I want at 3, I'll get at 3. And he got Tatum and a pick. So I'll give him that. That was great. You finessed. But everyone wants to praise him because of the way he finessed Brooklyn. Oh, we got all these picks. Oh, Brooklyn's ages ahead of you, bro. Mm-hmm. Ages ahead of you right now. It's not even close. Like, if you put them on the same court in a playoff series, 4-2. 4-2.
Hey, you give Brooklyn a nod. That's all I'm happy about.
You and I watched Brooklyn Saturday night. Wow.
They're so good. Yo, Kyrie is ridiculous.
Wow.
If Kyrie just didn't have that, attitude or that personality that just seemed like he doesn't want to play, he would be so praised because his ability to finish at the rim. I know we're getting off topic, but we saw 5-6 straight possessions of him just dancing and playing with the ball against the backboard. It was unbelievable.
Ridiculous. But speaking of Kyrie, Kemba Walker underperforming. Kyrie never played well. This is all karma for how you did Isaiah Thomas dirty.
Yeah.
Had an MVP season. He dropped 50 after his sister died.
Yeah.
And you traded him.
Yeah.
And you've never, ever been able to recoup that point guard position since that day. I'm happy about it personally because you did him dirty. And Danny Ainge, bro, you had a chance to get Miles Turner in the offseason in exchange for Gordon Hayward, and he turned it down.
Yeah.
So Gordon Hayward walks. It goes to Charlotte. You get nothing get nothing back. You sign Tristan, who doesn't fit with your team. Mm. Now you're stuck. You're at 500 with a very talented roster, and Marcus Smart's hurt. So I think that Boston, it's time to call them for what they are. They're a bit fraudulent, in my opinion. Ooh. They have not done anything to prove they're just a Western Conference team. They're just the Bucks 2.0. What have you done?
Western Conference or Eastern Conference?
Eastern Conference. Eastern Conference team.
They're fraudulent. They don't look like a team.
I want Tatum out. I don't think him and Brown are a thing together.
When you watch them play, they don't look like a team. And Tatum and Brown, honestly, they remind me a lot of T-Mac and Vince in Toronto. Tell me they're not. It's not the same exact thing. Almost like it's like Nike, Adidas. It's two players who are very similar in game. One gets more praise.
Kind of like Dame and CJ before.
Kind of like
before
that,
they made it work.
But
if Dame's more point guard, CJ's more
even
wing.
Closer.
Yeah.
You have two very, very talented wings who are very
guys,
athletic, very play above the rim. Obviously Tatum plays a little bit less above the rim because he's so skilled offensively, but just two guys who can really, really play offensively and can play defensively, but they just don't look like a team. The way they play, it doesn't seem to mesh. Kemba is in and out. That's tough for a coach to deal with. But this isn't Brad Stevens' first year.
No.
Looking bad.
No, and it's not Danny Ainge's first year either, and this is just bad.
And it's time at some point you look and you say, okay, maybe it's coaching at this point. Personnel, I think they look like that team.
You've been around. You've been the same roster for long enough that there should have been some chemistry.
The personnel looks worse than it did last year. I'm like, who are all these guys they picked up that don't really ring a bell?
That shows you the value of a Marcus Smart.
Exactly. I mean, Marcus Smart plays big minutes for them. He's a big part of their team. And
Kemba Walker is playing very average basketball, very inconsistent up and down basketball. So I don't know. There's a lot of things for them.
As a Raptors fan,
I love it.
Happy though. I love it.
But they're still beating us.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
0-2 this season against Boston. Yeah. But with that being said, that brings us to an end, a conclusion of episode 9. So let's call it. Let's go enjoy the snowstorm and some late night basketball. John Wall returns to DC tonight to face the
returns
Wizards.
Suck this year, man.
The returns suck because there's no fans.
No fans.
Yeah. So shout out and we'll see you guys on the next episode, I guess.